Hey.
Poltergeist, fear and phantoms await the team in London. Fielding, and this week I've brought my team to London, to a location full of history and haunting. Welcome to Most Haunted and Sutton House. One of Henry VIII's councillors, Sir Ralph Sadler, in 1535 to a traditional Tudor layout, the house was extensively altered by local builder John Cox in the mid-1700s to become two separate properties. Through the years they saw many tenants and have had many uses, at one time as a boarding school for gentlemen and later as an academy for girls. Despite its long periods of tenancy, radical changes in use and surviving the London Blitz of the Second World War, it's unbelievable to think that Sutton House was at its most vulnerable in the 1980s. However, a radical restoration project has reversed the years of neglect. Given its many occupants, it's a small wonder that many strange tales are told that defy explanation regarding the house and its supposed ghostly activity. Ladies of both the blue and white variety are said to roam its rooms. Spectral neighbours are heard arguing into the small hours. And perhaps oddest of all weird noises are that of dogs reported from within its walls. With all of our investigations, we like to try and gauge just how frightening a place is by sending two of our crew the night before to spend an evening alone and in the dark. Well, last night it was the turn of Stuart and Carl, and this is what happened.
It's the night before, and we've actually got to stay here all night. We're on our own. The couple of security people let us in. They've shown us around, and now they've gone. So we are going into the cellar to start. How do you feel, Stu?
Very scared at this present time. If you are here, can you please communicate with us? Can you touch one of us? Touch myself or Carl? What's up, Carl?
Shit.
Whoa.
Something just touched me right on the shoulder. I'm not kidding, mate. Something just touched me right on the shoulder when you were asking out.
What, there? The shoulder?
There. Exactly where your hand is. And it was that. It was a squeeze. It was like a... Yeah. Oh, was that you?
No. What the was that?
I don't know.
No. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow night.
Carl and Stuart managed to stay the night at Sutton House, witnessing further strange disturbances, which you can see on Most Haunted Extra. So, considering their earlier experiences, what else has Sutton House got in store for us during our investigation? Poltergeist activity seems to be prevalent throughout the property. Doors open and shut on their own. Objects fly across rooms unaided, and the temperature drops without warning and without explanation. One haunting that echoes through the whole of Sutton House is connected to a previous owner called John Matchell. Now, he was a wealthy wool merchant who lived here from 1550 to 1558. He kept dogs and loved them so much that they even appear on his coat of arms. Even though they died hundreds of years ago, their ghostly howls have been heard many times and witnessed by many people in the dead of night. It is also said that dogs who have entered the house suddenly stop for no reason, with their eyes transfixed, unable to move. This exhibition room was once a bedroom, and it is said that the ghost of a blue lady roams. Some unfortunate guests have awoken at night with their bed shaking, only to find her standing over them. But now with no bed to shake, she resigns herself to wandering from wall to wall in her eternal quest for peace. The chapel houses a most haunted first, for in this rather eerie place, two spirits are said to lurk locked in an eternal feud. They are thought to be grossly unhappy and fill their timeless existence with loud arguments. Tonight we're joined at Sutton House by musician and keen amateur ghost hunter Lee Ryan. And it must run in the family because Lee's mother Sheila also jumped at the opportunity to take part. I asked Lee what his feelings were on the coming night. Now, Lee, everybody knows you as a pop star, celebrity.
Yeah.
You're normally up on stage doing your thing. Here you are in a haunted old house and you're going to be doing some ghost hunting.
Yeah,
it's a completely different change.
Well, actually, no, it's not, because I'm kind of, you know, I'm very spiritual, and I've been to mediums through my life, and I've actually gone ghost hunting before in graveyards, and gone with my camera and asked them to show me themselves. And
So that's really good. So what we'll do is at some point we'll do a seance. Have you ever been involved in a
No,
seance?
I've never been. You know, I've always tried to stay away from stuff like Ouija boards and stuff like this, because I don't believe that, you know, if you don't know what you're messing with, you shouldn't really do it, because it is dangerous. And you know, whether you believe in it or not, you can, I believe that, you know, I don't believe bad spirits can actually harm you, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to be messing with something like that you don't know.
It's a perception of it all, though. That's the thing. So this is what we're going to put you in a seance and see how you go with that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah?
Excellent.
You're looking
Great.
forward to it.
Yeah, of course. I'm really looking forward to it. I want to see some stuff. I've always wanted to see a spirit. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe tonight.
I asked Dr. Kieran O'Keefe what he was expecting of the coming investigation into the supposed paranormal activities reported at Sutton House. Now, Kieran, this location to me is like a jewel in the centre of a very, very busy location. We're in Hackney, London. There's all these sort of concrete buildings, high-rises, and then you've got this beautiful old house. It's just sat in the middle of everything. It's brilliant.
It is a fantastic location, but at the same time, you raise an interesting point. We do have to be wary of extraneous noise later on tonight. Traffic, people walking past the house, that sort of thing. So if the team can be extra aware of those sort of noises.
Now, we've got a guest, Lee Ryan, with us tonight, which is going to be interesting.
It's always very difficult to predict when there is a guest coming on the show how they're going to react to the phenomena or even just the investigation as a whole. With Lee Ryan, at least he is a fan of the show, so there'll be that level of excitement about being involved. But in addition, we've got somebody who's potentially creative. They sing, they maybe songwrite as well, and we know within parapsychology that perhaps creatives are more open-minded to the possibility of these sort of things. So hopefully he'll experience phenomena, he'll be more open-minded, and certainly become a more integral part of the team.
So what will our resident medium David Wells encounter as he takes his first steps around Sutton House?
I can sense 3 or 4 people around the outside going, go on, you're like at school, you're going, fight, fight, fight. I absolutely hate it in here.
John, are you here? Oh my word. Sutton House in Hackney, London is a veritable treasure house of reported paranormal activity. Would David Wells' assessment confirm this reputation?
First impressions of the house is it's very quiet, it's very still. You know, often we go into places and I'm looking for there's none of that going on. I can't really feel any of that at the moment. It feels very it's quite hard. It's quite hard to get through some of the, you know, when it's softer, it's harder to get through it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of very whispery. I mean, I know there's a picture of a woman there, but that's very feminine space initially. I can hear a stompy it's a male probably further up in the building that's a bit grumpy, but not, again, hugely aggressive. And just one kind of soft female voice, that's what I can hear so far, but I'm not actually confronted them yet. They're active, they're definitely active.
Okay.
It's quite oppressive in here. I mean, I know it's a, it's a salary kind of room. It should feel peaceful here. But I've got a real blinding headache in this room that's not... Sometimes if you move into a space that's had any kind of religious work, I get the headache because it's just the sheer power of the energy. But here it's aggression.
Oh.
There's an aggressiveness, there's a grab you by... I've always wanted to do that. There's a grab you by the throat kind of aggression between... And I mean really, really hurting each other.
Do you want to do it on event?
So each other, so there's two of them.
There's two characters here. What is it? It's almost like there's two of them having a go, and I can sense 3 or 4 people around the outside going, go on, like at school, you go and fight, fight, fight. We did at my school anyway.
2 women, a woman and a man,
It's 2 men fighting, but there's women involved in this. There's women sort of going, I can hear like that noise of go and get him, thump him.
Really?
Yeah, and it's over something and nothing. I don't sense any murder. I don't sense any blood and all the rest of it. It's almost like we've had this before, where you get that turn of energy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We've had it a few times.
Yeah.
It's that constant turn of energy. So things might do that.
So it's just the energy of these 2 men. They're not haunting here, but it's just the residual energy of what they left behind.
Yeah, basically.
Right, which might cause poltergeist activity.
Yeah, things might move in here. The energy might make things move in here. What a great room.
It's lovely, isn't it? There we go. Yeah, it's right by here. It's right by my left foot. If there's anybody here, can you knock twice? Yeah. Yes, there's faint. Okay, sorry.
It's still very feminine here. There's one female who I think I kind of passed on the stairs, met on the stairs, but it's very swift. So she's obviously using stairs, so I think it might have been this part of the house that she lived in. This chair's moving, this chair's not me, it was just tapping. Can you feel it? Is that tap going through the chair?
No, it's everywhere. Do you think she's kind of just showing herself, or do you think we would hear her?
I think people will see her, and I think they might hear her on the stairs as well. Again, I think she's the one that brushes past people.
Right. Okay.
And there might be physical interaction with this one, so people might physically very quickly see her.
Did she die of a natural death?
When people have problems in childbirth, the classic sign for me is they present blood on their abdomen, and they're up to here really, covered in blood, so she's presenting that.
It's quite interesting that you say about feeling as though she swept past you on the stairs, because as we came upstairs, the EMF did increase from about 2 milligauss up to about 8 or 9, so that might be responsible for the sort of feelings that people are getting.
But what would cause that? If it's not a ghost, what would cause those?
Well, this is the thing. I was trying to keep an eye out for electrical wiring, and there does seem to be more lighting on this floor than there is downstairs, and that might be responsible for it.
And people might feel that.
So they'd feel that because of the electricity.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to move on?
Or maybe not, of course. Sorry.
Of course. You never know.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
Seems a bit more active in terms of the woman.
Did you just hear that?
Yeah.
Tell me what you heard.
Well, I heard a bang, but before that I had a sigh.
I heard a...
Yeah.
Did anybody else hear it?
No, I did hear it. She seems a bit more active in here and a bit more interactive in here. She tends to, I think people will tend to see her more up here. It's a generic name. It's
Go.
Mary. Mary's the generic name.
Ask out.
Is your name Mary?
Oh, my word.
Hello,
That was
Mary.
a quick response.
But she's saying, I think she's saying, and this just is random, and you have to say the random things are usually the things that are really the most kind of like, how would you know that? She called her husband a not very pleasant name. She said, but the old bastard married again.
Okay,
So he must. Did your husband remarry, Mary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blimey.
It's nice. I think it might be him that's lurking about somewhere else.
Is this the grumpy one?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, ask. Is he here?
Is your husband still in the house? You see, that would make sense then as to why it's the others thing again, isn't it?
Right.
So they're all just living here, they're going through their daily kind of...
Is there any way she can communicate to you what his name would have been?
Oh, bastard, there you go.
Yeah. The old
Oh, she
bastard.
did it tap twice.
Did she?
Oh, I think he's a bit of a cantankerous old mucker.
So living in this house as the others are her
Yeah.
and this cantankerous...
At the moment,
the old
that's what
bastard.
we've got. Yeah, the guys in cell I don't think are here. I think that's
An energy.
An energy thing. Yeah.
Okay. But she's definitely more interactive up here. Okay, well, there is a Mary recorded in connection with this room, which is fascinating. Also, Kieran and I both know that other mediums have been here and actually picked up on two gentlemen having this, very fiery argument. So you definitely have. And also, it was two different dwellings as well, which is what you picked up on as well. Now, do you want to move on or do you want to go to night vision?
I think we should go to night vision now. Have a look at this man.
Ooh, I'm excited. Come on in. With David already coming up with some incredibly precise information, it was time to switch to night vision and begin the investigation in earnest. Oh God, these doors are heavy, aren't they? Wow, this is a lovely big old panelled room.
Oh, I absolutely hate it in here.
Why?
I don't know, my head is absolutely killing me.
Oh.
That tapping off.
Yeah, it started.
I feel really dizzy in here.
Why would that be? Because of energy?
Just energy, yeah. I'm just trying to focus in on who it is. There's definitely a male presence because it's very dominating. There's a man with dogs, three dogs. Mm-hmm. They're big dogs, like wolfhound sizey kind of things. They're not like little. They're not spaniels or anything soft like that.
Is he really strong? Is that why you're feeling what you're feeling?
Yeah, the energy's really strong, and he's very bumptious. He'll strop about. He'll do that kind of like stropping about.
Any name with this man?
John.
John.
Yeah. John, he's wringing his hands. I think he's got financial issues. There's financial issues with him. So he's fighting over money or about to lose money or something. My hands are, the old adage.
Yes.
My hand's itching. That is a sign for me. He's giving money.
Giving money?
Yeah.
How old would you say he was? You say he's quite a lot younger.
He's presenting at about 40, 45, and that's quite old, He looks much older, I'll tell you that. It goes right under my feet.
If you can get a surname for him as well, that would be great. Or even just an initial?
It's probably an M. M would be the surname I go for. And he's pulling out, if you had a scarf and you pulled, if you took it to, I want to take it to pieces and I'm going to pull the bits off. So I guess he worked in cloth, but he's actually pulling like bits of fabric out of, he's destroying stuff that's been made. And he's really, really angry about it. So I guess he in some way was involved with, is this like, I can see every weave coming out. He's pulling every weave out.
In anger?
Yeah, he's just really annoyed with everything. So everybody and everything annoys him.
And is he haunting here all the time?
I think he is here all the time. He seems... It's almost like, I don't know if he actually did lose it or got right to the brink of losing it. So therefore, he's coming back to hang on to it, if you like.
And can you see him in this room? Is he here in the room now? Because we're getting lots of bangings.
Yeah.
But is he here, present now, listening to us?
He's predominantly stomping around here. He comes between that room and here. And he really stomps with these dogs skipping about, you know, scurrying around all over the shop.
John, are you here? If you are, please give two very loud bangs. Wow.
Is it Malchum or Matchum?
Well done.
Yeah, something like that.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
And you have the connection right as well with the fabric, because he was a cotton merchant.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so
that's
correct.
why he's pulling it apart.
Yeah,
right, okay.
definitely. And you're right with the... Can you give me more on the dogs? I know you described them...
Well, they're like babies, probably more so than his children, to be honest with you.
Okay, so he loved them so much.
He absolutely adored the dogs.
So that's why he's walking around with his dog?
Yeah, the dogs follow him everywhere.
So the dogs are ghosts as well?
Yeah, essentially they are, yeah.
So would people see the dogs?
People will see the dogs, hear him. There's probably a bit of poltergeist stuff in here as well, because he's stormy. He's a stormy character.
Okay. All right. John, is that right? Do you have your dogs with you now? That was faint, wasn't it? Too faint.
Definitely too.
Yeah, definitely.
Both Kath and I just heard the same thing.
What?
It was like a hum, like a whine ending in a hum. It was like,
Yeah. Oh, like a dog. Yeah.
I heard that.
Really?
Yeah. Is that scratching? You can hear
Scratching.
I suddenly feel a bit more uncomfortable with a couple of 3 great big whacking dogs.
There you go. Again. Just heard it there.
A whine.
Yeah.
A bit more uncomfortable with a couple of 3 great big whacking dogs.
There you go. Again. Just heard it there. So what about this room, David?
It feels more intimate in here, so he may have used... Obviously, it's a smaller room. You would sit in here if you're cold, wouldn't you?
John was sitting here with the dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels much more intimate. But there's no sense of... I know there was children around, but there's no sense of them. I can't sense them.
Do you want to call out and see if John will do something else?
John, if you're here, could you please do something in this room?
Come on, John. Come on, John, and your lovely dogs.
I'm not sure they're that lovely.
John, if you're here, I know you are, because you're knocking. We don't mean you any harm at all. Do you know why we're here? Knock twice if you know why we're here. Okay.
I had that.
What?
Did you?
I heard it.
I had. Whoa! I had that.
No.
Yeah.
I did.
Well, if you heard it, John, then we can definitely listen back to it.
Okay.
I had. Who? I had that.
Sutton House was certainly living up to its notoriety, with strange noises which we took to be the dogs the house is famous for, and David connecting with the former wealthy resident wool merchant, John Matchell. What more might we encounter through the remaining hours of the night?
I'm scared.
Our investigation of Sutton House was proving to be lively. And as our special guest Lee Ryan joined us, would the spirits of this beautiful building come out of the shadows? The group decided to divide, with Kieran, John, Kath and Ian moving the investigation to the west wing of the house, whilst myself and special guest Lee Ryan went down to the basement to see what spiritual evidence we could discover there.
Right, let's try and come back.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Did you just hear footsteps?
I heard something.
Yeah, I heard it. John, if you can hear us, please can you make a sound? Was it? John, are you here in this room with us? Can you make a sound? I've just had this strange feeling.
What?
Do you know when somebody comes behind you and puts their hands on your hip like that?
Yeah.
That's what I just felt.
You felt the hands?
Yeah.
You actually felt the pressure?
Yeah, like somebody had come along like that and went onto my hips.
Do you want to carry on calling out then?
Not really. If there's anybody...
I heard something.
Thing.
Yeah, I can hear voices.
Can you?
Yeah. Could you talk again? I swear I just heard something. Could you talk again?
Yeah, I can. It's like whispering.
Could you make your voice heard louder?
Yeah, I think I might have just caught something strange at 15 minutes after. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but I might have just seen it. I just caught the last tail end of it. I'll check it back afterwards.
You mean a light or?
I don't know, it was strange. It was looks like it was in the hatch of the door behind you.
Spirits can manifest themselves in many different ways.
Yeah.
Hello.
Everybody heard that?
Mm-hmm. And still again, it must be someone.
Could have been outside.
Should we do this setup? Should we do this setup?
No. Right, go on then.
I go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Oh, it's cold down here. It would be just setup. Very cold.
I know, it's freezing.
Is there anyone down here?
Are there any spirits in this room? Make a noise? Ooh.
What?
Oh, somebody tickled my head. If I whistle, will you whistle back? Did you hear that? I know. I could have sworn I heard a faint whistle.
Yeah, I think it might be in the bus going.
Come into this room. Did you?
Yeah. We would like to communicate with you. Could you help us?
I can hear a dull thud. If there's anybody here, can you touch again? Can you touch me again?
Or me?
Any of us?
Touch somebody else in the room.
I'm scared.
In an endeavour to concentrate our energies, we regrouped and were joined by Lee Ryan's mum, Sheila, as we began a séance.
Imagine for me then, just in your mind's eye, that above your head there's brilliant white light. And that white light flow down through your crown, down through your third eye, which is in the centre of your forehead, down through your throat and into your heart. Imagine that white light flowing down through those centres, then flooding your entire body with light.
It's gone freezing all around my legs.
It's cold, I felt it in my hands, it's gone really cold.
I'm going to breathe them all right.
Now if that's you, drop the temperature even more if you can.
Something happened at the table. There we go. You feel it?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
It's very gentle, isn't she?
If there are any other spirits in this room or in this house, please come towards us now. Please see our light, come towards us. If this is a gentleman, I know that you may not be too enamoured of us being here, so but we don't mean you any harm, and I know you don't mean us harm.
Oh no.
Wow, brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you, John.
Amazing. Could you lift my scarf off the table? Because then this will be my favourite scarf in the world. Could you make the scarf move?
Oh my God, it's floating, it's floating. It floated there, didn't it? Have you actually felt how massive?
Oh God.
There's these things feeling really here. There's drawers and
Could he do anything else? I really wanted to take the scarf off. Love that.
That's what I'm asking, because sometimes we do get objects thrown, don't we?
We have had in the past.
John, please, I beg of you, please. This is fantastic, you lifting the table. Also, can we call upon any of the spirit people, our guides, to come forward? We have good communication, but please, can you help us some more of our guides coming?
Yeah. They're
Can
back
you?
though, yeah, but way back. They stood back.
Oh! I think they're here.
They're here, but they stood back
They
in the
stood
room.
back.
Yeah.
Our guides.
Are they allowing John to...
Yeah, they're just monitoring, just watching.
Well, what are the guys? What do you mean?
We have guides that oversee us as a group, that help us. Hello, Henry. Ooh, hello, sweetie. Is that really you? Lift the table again, Henry, if it's really you. Henry Broom?
Yeah.
So Henry's obviously stood back, but he's doing things. Yeah.
Could you speak to us? Anyone who's there? Any noise you could make?
Do you think we can go back and listen?
Yeah.
Just have a
You
quick-
see, once you start to get tired.
Yeah,
that's it.
What could probably go put that later on?
Just leave it there until we come back.
But even if you later on, if you're wearing it, it could actually just come straight off you.
That'd be wicked.
And that would be, but leave it there just now and just see.
Good.
Heartened by our combined effort to provoke further activity during our séance, we prepared to cast our net wider and explore further the remaining rooms of Sutton House. Our investigation of Sutton House with special guest and keen amateur ghost hunter Lee Ryan was confirming its reputation for paranormal activity. What more could possibly happen?
Should we go back up to the room we was in?
Yeah.
See if my scarf's moving. But did we touch it at all? No. It's moved. It's on the floor. He wasn't on the floor like that.
Do you want to put the scarf in the middle of the table again, see if it moves it off? Or...
And ask now, yeah. Ask.
Would you please, I know you've already done this, but could you put something next to the scarf, or to move the scarf again somewhere else? Thank you.
Heartened by the obvious movement of Lee's scarf in the Victorian study, we moved to the little chamber, the scene of much reported poltergeist activity.
Is there anybody here? Are there any astral beings, any spirit people that want to talk to us? Stay still. Stay still. It was. Thank you for throwing the stone, but can you do something else? Throw a stone again. Are you here? John?
Oh. I caught that coming across my camera.
It's just little tiny, isn't that weird? It's little tiny.
I actually caught that on the camera.
Did you?
Can you see it there?
You would come between Jeff and myself.
It's there. They're the tiniest.
Is it still there? Is it over here?
Yes, the stone's still there.
That stone's still there. Can I keep that stone?
Yeah, there you go.
It's yours. Thank you very much for
Thank
that.
you. You blessed my stone. I'm keeping that forever.
Please keep them coming. Shower us with them. Please. Throw some more. Throw some more, please. Do you think now I should try with the ring? Yes! Yes! I just said shower you. Shower. That's brilliant. That's so
There's about
good.
3 of them. There's
Yeah.
one there and one there.
And again, please shower us with some more. This is fantastic. Please do some more. Throw some more. Throw some more, please. Whoever's doing this, thank you so much.
Fantastic. Wow! Oh my god. This is fantastic. Throw some more, please. If I offered him money, do you reckon he'd, because he lost money, do you would value
I
that?
see your logic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I said, John, I'll leave you £20 on the table, would you move it? If you move it, you can keep it.
Please.
John, could you move this money?
Put those there.
Hey.
Thanks for asking for hundreds.
It's not at the top of my head.
Thanks for asking for hundreds.
This is the most amazing experience.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself.
What's that? What was that? Something else.
Yeah. Oh, no, banging.
It was like a rolling. Yeah, bang.
It's happened.
Yeah. I'm going to do some tap dancing. Can you follow me? I knew my tap dancing was coming in handy when I was a kid.
But that's bizarre.
Are you in the room right now?
Yes.
Can you make yourself more known?
Let's go back and regroup.
Regroup.
He got chucked on you. Thank you. He got chucked on you. I saw that fall on you.
Like a scarf.
The scarf just got chucked on you. It's been absolutely amazing, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. And I feel so blessed that this scarf was handled by these lovely people that spirits live in this house.
He got trucked.
They've been great to let us come into their world, and you know, I always believed that maybe we're spirits in their world, so I don't know, I thought it was fantastic.
Sutton House had certainly shown itself to be deserving of its reputation for strange phenomena. But what would ever-sceptical Dr. Kieran O'Keefe make of the night?
Sutton House presented a number of problems for the Most Haunted team. There was a lot of auditory phenomena experienced, but from a skeptic's point of view, we can discount some of it as being noises from outside that are misinterpreted as being noises from inside.
If there's anybody...
I heard something.
The most significant auditory phenomena that occurred was the whining and growling of a dog or dogs.
Both Kath and I just heard the same thing.
What?
It was like a hum, like a whine ending in a hum. It was like,
Yeah. Oh, like a dog, yeah.
Now, discounting the possibility that it was the sound of dogs from outside, were we actually hearing the sounds of creaking floorboards or other unusual sounds in a location? And then, because of the suggestion of being told that people had experienced the presence of dogs, we immediately attributed the sounds to that of a dog. On a couple of the vigils at Sutton House, which were accompanied by our guest Lee Ryan, a scarf appeared to move of its own accord. Now, on a couple of occasions, they had placed the scarf on the back of a chair, and then when returning to the room, it wasn't in the same place. Without the presence of a lock-off camera, we cannot be 100% certain that this was paranormal in nature. What did happen on one of the vigils was the scarf appeared to have been thrown, as if from nowhere, at Yvette and others on the staircase.
He got trucked on you. Thank you.
Now, this is more interesting because at least we have some cameras there, and we can hopefully capture the movement of the scarf from its origin to its destination. If we can have that, then perhaps there's evidence of the paranormal. We were getting some unusual tapping sounds. Normally the tapping is of a regular beat, or it's in answer to questions, or it's 2 knocks or 1 knock.
I knew my tap lessons were coming in handy when I was a kid.
That's bizarre.
On this particular occasion, it appeared to be a rhythmic beat in response to the beat that Lee was tapping out. When tapping occurs in this particular sort of environment, in representing the skeptical community, I have to say we're not in a controlled enough environment for us to assess whether it's actual paranormal evidence or not. On one particular vigil, there were many, many stones thrown. We cannot be 100% certain that we're dealing with paranormal evidence, because we're not actually able to capture the origin of the stone throwing and also then the destination. So essentially, footage of the full flight. However, it is quite interesting because it's quite different to any stone throwing incidents that the Most Haunted team has experienced in any other location.
Sutton House had given us a night to remember. We had witnessed everything that had been reported of the building and more, from strange noises of dogs, the inevitable tapping that now seems to follow us everywhere, unexplainable poltergeist activity, including the incident involving Lee Ryan's scarf, which gave all of us pause for thought. But perhaps the oddest were the stone projectiles, which ended our evening. All in all, an investigation we would not easily forget. Until next time, sleep tight.
Want some more? Go straight over to Living 2 right now for the inside track of tonight's investigation. That's Most Haunted Extra on Living 2 right now. Next on Living, though, it's New Zealand's biggest ever comedy. Can a family turn its back on crime forever? Outrageous Fortune begins after the break.